What's up, you guys? Sean Ross Sapp. It is April 15th, and unfortunately, it would appear that this is going to be a bummer of a day for years to come. It seems like this is WWE's now designated firing day, quite frankly. WWE has released numerous superstars. Now, this is exactly 1 year after they cut just tons and tons of people. Oh, man, this is a bummer. We're going to get into it now. Now, the irony is when this news started to come through, I was just editing a story that I think Jeremy Lambert had put up on Fightful about Leo Rush, Deonna Purrazzo, Matt Cardona, and numerous others talking about how they got released 1 year ago and the difference that it made in their lives, so to speak. So I find the fact that immediately following that, whether planned or not, a year to the day, boy, was that tone deaf of WWE. A lot of these people didn't get WrestleMania payoffs, paydays, anything like that. Some of them had signed new deals. I just want to hit you guys with a couple programming notes. The Distraction podcast usually on right now. It's pushed back a little bit today for obvious reasons. The Fightful Select Q&A show, I had started to take questions. I want to apologize to those that had submitted questions. We are preempting that this week. I will do something in relation to these releases. I'll do a special show this week or this weekend to make up to our Fightful Select subscribers, but this is the kind of thing I wanted to put out there publicly for all of our viewers, all that. You know the drill. We appreciate your support, so thank you very much if you subscribed or left a thumbs up. Anakin JMT says, what do you think the odds are NXT cuts tomorrow like last year? I mean, based on what we see, it seems like they're following the formula. Now, people in WWE that are getting this information on digital are not being told of any NXT releases yet. And I was told during this round of cuts, don't expect Aleister Black to get released. And that's because they just kicked up some new vignettes for him that are supposed to start soon, I think. But let's go ahead and get into it. A whole lot of releases. Samoa Joe, Billie Kay and Peyton Royce, Mickie James, Chelsea Green, Tucker, Kalisto, Bo Dallas, Wesley Blake. Boy, do I have a lot of things to say about a lot of these people. Oh, man, there's a lot of talent there. Now, let's go in one by one as best we can. We'll start with Tucker, a guy who some of you might say, oh, man, well, he never did anything in WWE. Well, he got a Raw deal. Is Otis any better off now than he was in Heavy Machinery? I don't know. But Tucker is the type of guy that you're going to see pop up on an AEW Dark or another company, and he's going to impress a lot of people based on what they've seen. Go look at Elimination Chamber 2020, see the type of stuff he did when he dove off the chamber. He's gonna impress some people. I'll do a show on Select where I think people will end up. That's how I'll make up for the Q&A. But I got some good ideas for him. Nicholas Hagan sends a super chat and says, CM Punk pipe bomb is all I can think of when this happens. Yeah, and specifically him mentioning Kozlov and Harry Smith getting fired. Bryant Heath, I don't really want to sit here and say, oh, but this person's still there. There's a whole lot of people that they still have that I'm surprised are there, but I don't want to tap dance in the streets over the idea of people getting released. Any idea this is over? It seems like there's a calm right now, but there was last year too before this picked right back up. Zach Barber says, what's the point of a 90-day non-compete clause? Well, it's for both of them. It's not like they're just sitting there not getting paid during that period. Most wrestlers that I speak to appreciate that 90-day no-compete clause because it helps WWE because they don't have somebody pop up on TV right after they're on TV. Now, granted, most of these people aren't in that boat. Like a couple of these people were wrestling, but also these people get paid at 90 days of their WWE downside during that period. That lets them find more work. that lets them do a lot of different things. By the way, guys, I'm not going to read super chats of people saying, do you think this person will get fired? Why wasn't this person fired? I'm not doing that. You can send another super chat if you say that, but I'm not doing that. But it is sort of a thing that benefits a lot of people. Take Rhino, for example. Look at Rhino in 2005. He was not going to go anywhere higher in WWE. He had a situation. He ended up getting fired. He took 90 days off. He actually appeared, I think, maybe at ECW One Night Stand. But then you saw how he popped up in TNA, just ripped in the best shape he had ever been in, and went on a run where he became world champion there. Michael Solander says, how dumb do you got to be to release Joe? 10 out of 10 dumb. Yes, very dumb. He had dealt with injury issues, and their booking of him was never quite to the level in which he should have been. It seemed very, very much like when they hired him, it was to keep him from being elsewhere. Because if you remember, when they hired him, he was working a lot of different places. He was really changing the game there for a while. He was working for Ring of Honor and WWE, and they were fine with it. And then they were like, no, brother, you got to come in. You got to work for us full time. We got to have you. So, needless to say, he's going to be the belle of the ball. And I think he's in his 40s or something. Doesn't matter for Samoa Joe. No way, man. That guy is going to get offers from everywhere. Rob Wilkins says, any idea if any of them asked for their release? Yes, a couple did. And that's how it worked out last time. Last year, Deonna Purrazzo I don't think she had asked for her release, but she indicated, if you're not using me, release me. Matt Cardona had not signed his new deal that had been offered like a year before. Miro had not signed his new deal that was offered. Tay Conchi had asked for her release. So there were a lot of people like that. Omar says, sorry for my language, F this company. Yeah, John Laurinaitis is making the calls, and he's saying budget cuts, which is a very hard thing to buy when you post record revenue. And let me tell you, I get the feeling next week's quarterly call isn't going to be much different. Bryant says, let's think of the positives then. Samoa Joe and the Iconics are going to be showcased once they're able. Yes, Peyton Royce, Billie Kay, the Iconics have been released as well. It was a dumb idea to break them up to begin with. And you can say plenty about, well, they're not Sasha Banks, they're not Charlotte Flair, they're not Becky, they're not Bayley in the ring. That's okay. You need characters. You need performers. You need entertainers as well. And they were that. They were great for that tag team division. Ed Call says this round feels like an indictment of Vince's disinterest in tag divisions. Iconics, Blake, and Tucker. And that ain't it, my friend. BioMonkey says Kingdom for an Iconics Chris Statlander feud. There's going to be a lot of options for them, I would imagine. Ring of Honor is about to gear up their women's division. So they're about to make a bunch of new hires. Impact Wrestling, they've got contracts coming due. They lost Kylie Ray, Taya, and Tessa Blanchard over the last year. So they're reloading. We saw them do it already with Rachel Ellering and Taylor Wilde and another name that I haven't reported yet, but I'm about to report on FightfulSelect.com. I Am Lucha said, welcome, Fightful family, to the new Mania tradition. SMH, this is trash. It is trash. I hate it. I hate to see it because the system and the company failed a whole lot of these people. And there is enough programming for these people to get on there. How do I know that? Well, I watched Monday Night Raw this week. That's how I know that. Matt J. Hendricks says, I was hoping Wesley Blake stayed so Blake and Murphy could reform so there'd be another tag team. I will have more news on that on FightfulSelect.com. Our friend Jesse the Buckeye says, can we expect more? I expect more, but that doesn't mean I don't have any information to indicate that will be happening. Let's talk about this. Mike Preventure 2 says, I hope this results in Mickie James being Britt Baker's first post-championship feud. Iconics can make a mint anywhere. Oh, not just Mickie James. We saw Chelsea Green get released. Now, Chelsea Green, you want to talk about a roller coaster couple of years. She got hurt in November. Well, first off, let's say this. She and Deonna Purrazzo pitched VXT for the emerging women's tag division. They got brought up to Raw for one shot. We're in limbo. What the hell's going on? Deonna Purrazzo released. That's in the bin. Can't do that anymore. Did the Robert Stone brand? They brought her up. They sat Chelsea Green for 6 months. They had a storyline pitched with Mickie James. I'm sure you guys have seen plenty of the stuff that Mickie James and Chelsea Green were doing on social media. They were pitching that. Those two can go team somewhere. They can do this somewhere else now if they want. Impact Wrestling has a brand new Knockouts tag team division. Ring of Honor is about to relaunch their women's division. NWA needs help bad. And you better believe Mickie James has already had that conversation. Like AEW is going to keep adding important women. So now they can do this, whatever. And look at Chelsea Green. When she got passed up on Tough Enough and WWE didn't sign her, she got put on Impact TV and immediately got over with character work. Immediately. Look at Mickie James' career. Has been over everywhere she's been. Everywhere. Britt Baker, Chelsea Green, good friends. Deonna Purrazzo, Chelsea Green, good friends. Gonna have a lot of stuff on the table for those girls. You want to talk about a ton of talent. Rob Reed says, sucks to see so many talented guys and girls released. That being said, give me Joe versus Jeff Cobb tomorrow. Well, New Japan hasn't been bringing in new people of late from America. But yeah, I know Joe wanted to wrestle. I'll say that. I heard this week that Joe wanted to wrestle. Bob Green says he was shocked by Joe. I kind of was. I don't want to say I was super surprised. Matt J. Hendricks says it shocks me out of all the others. Well, that's because he's the biggest name. Any truth? And they're asking about the vignettes about Aleister Black. I don't know when they'll air, but they were filmed. That's why I think I was told to not expect Aleister Black to be released. Bo Dallas got released as well. Ozzy Ali says, weird fact, Bo Dallas has a 5-year drought between his NXT championship and his first main roster championship. Yeah, I don't know where his heart's at. I don't know if he's looking into continuing wrestling. He's still really young. Most people don't realize he's in his early 30s, but he is. But that Bo Leave angle, I thought was chicken salad out of chicken shit. It's because of him. I thought he was so entertaining in that because when they brought him up, he wasn't overbearing like early 1990s, late 80s babyface. And they ran with it and they made it work. And I thought it was very, very entertaining. Again, I don't know where his desires lay, so to speak, but I hope it's fine. Now, there are some of these people I wonder, like, I don't know if some of these people even have like residency or how their visa situation will work or anything. But Tyler says, everybody's saying Iconics to AEW, but they could do just as well, if not better, in Impact. I don't think financially they could. I mean, maybe if they had some peripheral stuff, but they could do that peripheral stuff in Impact or in AEW as well. But creatively, yeah, I agree. Now, that's the thing I was just talking to a couple people outside of WWE about. There are people whose contracts are coming up, and they were weighing, like, should I even try to go to NXT? Because they were talking about having to take, like, a significant pay cut because they would have to drop their extra stuff. Denise Salcedo says, do you think we'll see more women from NXT get called up to Raw, SmackDown, given they've signed lots of new women? We could. They could start using Nikki Cross as well, but I'll tell you what's the wildest thing about this, Denise, is they just started NXT tag team titles, and they're going to have to pull from that talent pool, and they're going to have to supplement Raw because of that. Like, what are they going? We saw a shakeup, I think. Did we see a shakeup last year after all this? I can't even remember. I don't think we did. No, we saw the wild card. That's what it was. Woof. But I do think we'll see a couple call-ups. I've been saying, I wouldn't be shocked personally if, like, Casey and Kagan got called up out of nowhere. It seems like the kind of thing WWE would do. Colt Badeau says, if WWE didn't have 1,000 video packages and replays for no damn reason, maybe some more people could get on TV. No wonder AEW has everyone in factions. I like the faction-based stuff. Matt Payne says, just a thank you for chatting during this crazy day. Keep the work up. This was going to be my day off, but you know what? It's a worse day for a lot of other people, so fuck that. Who cares? Let's hope these people find jobs and get back on their feet and do well and aren't out too much. You know what I mean? There's a lot of really good people, and there's a ton of talent here. Ray Callahan says, 90 days is Wednesday, July 14th. Slammiversary is on the 17th, maybe. Use tax day and 90 days to get the returns before they sign top free agents. Thoughts? I think that if Impact had a planned date for Slammiversary, they have now moved it. Look at how Impact used a lot of those releases. Cardona and Myers are having a really fun feud. Eric Young had one of the most creatively satisfying periods of his career. Deonna Purrazzo is doing exactly what everybody who ever watched Deonna Purrazzo knew she could do. Heath, we didn't get to see a lot out of that, unfortunately. We didn't. Peyton and Billie versus TJ would be a money feud for me. That would be very good. Unfortunately, Anna Jay is out for quite a long time. John Doe says, how is it because of budget cuts? Didn't they just get $1 billion from Peacock? Yes, it's because of budget cuts because they're full of shit. That's why. Brian Doyle says, I think Gresham versus Joe and ROH would be absolute money. You want to talk about a David versus Goliath battle that would be really good. And John Kieran says, sad about these releases. I'd love to do themes for any of these talent, but do you think, who do you think sees the most success post WWE? I think Joe. I'm going Chelsea Green and Joe, probably. Bezo Bank says, I look at Mickie James and say, how do you not have anything for this absolute legend of the game? She's still in her prime, no matter what others say. I don't know if she's in her prime or not. I mean, I completely agree with her assessment that there's ageism in wrestling and there's a double standard in wrestling. But I think she's got it. And here's the thing. I don't know if she's in her prime because WWE hasn't let me see her wrestle in so long. She very well could be. Physically looks like she's in her prime. Looks like she can still cut a promo and talk to me. Still looks like a star. And she can teach so many people. There's so much upside to a Mickie James. Like, how do you not find anything for her? Especially when you got a redundant tag team division there as well. So we haven't talked a lot about Wesley Blake. Well, his buddy, Steve Macklin, formerly Steve Cutler, got released. I got to say, I could think of far worse things than Wesley Blake and Steve Cutler, now Steve Macklin. I'm trying to get into the habit of calling these people by their post-WWE names, teaming up again. I think that would be really good. The problematic personality of that group is no longer there, and he's still in WWE, but Cutler and Blake were the ones that WWE particularly wanted to call up last year. If you go back and watch the Forgotten Sons matches after they got called up, Jackson Riker did not wrestle at all. He stood outside in his jacket looking jacked and imposing. Cutler and Blake, they are TV ready. They have a ton of experience. They have a ton of TV experience. They have a ton of tag team experience together, and they're not overexposed. Like, you're not going to look back at their NXT run and say, oh, well, they're overexposed. What more can you do with them? You're not going to say that about Steve Cutler and Wesley Blake. And last year when the Jackson Riker thing happened, I reached out to tons of wrestlers who said that they were like, what can we do? How can we improve this? This doesn't represent us. Put over the work ethic of Cutler and Blake, and especially how long they worked their asses off in that performance center. I don't know if Wesley Blake and Steve Cutler want to team together. I don't know, like, if they keep in touch. I'm not sure of that. I'll find out, by God. But I think that they would be a really good tag team for any promotion to have. Like, you want to tell me that they wouldn't fit in and have good matches in any promotion? Man, miss me with that. Bruce says, just wanted to say thanks for all that you and the team do when things like this unfortunately go down. Appreciate the integrity with the crap situation. Well, wish we weren't talking about it. Really wish we weren't talking about it. It sucks, but thank you. Give me Kalisto versus Phoenix. Oh boy, that's the thing, Justin. Kalisto can go. We're not going to sit here and accuse Kalisto of being the best promo in the world. We know that's not the case, but God damn it, we have seen that man work, and we have seen that man do some incredible stuff in the ring. Jay Lane says, budget cuts but wasted $1 million on Logan Paul. I would be shocked if that were the case, and Logan Paul he didn't have anything to do with this. Kalisto is going to do really, really well outside of WWE. He is going to rock it. think we've covered almost everybody. Matt and Caleb Grand says, well, Peyton can travel and spend more time with her husband, Sean Spears, if AEW takes her or them. Well, I mean, I don't know how much time you think these people are all spending away from each other right now. They live in Florida. Their wrestling is all in Florida. They've all been spending a lot of time together. How many of these people were on WrestleMania weekend? I don't think Bo was there. I know Chelsea Green wasn't there. Mickie was there, but she didn't wrestle. Peyton was there. Billie wrestled. Yeah, Billie wrestled in WrestleMania, and Samoa Joe was there in a poncho. I don't think Blake was there. I'm not sure. Isaac Merriweather said, imagine Samoa Joe joining Team Taz and AEW. Get the hose. Just douse me with it, my friends. That would be a good one. That would be a really good one. Matt J. Hendricks says, do you think when Black returns to TV, it'll be for SmackDown? If I were WWE, I would make it on Raw. They need him really, really bad. Nicholas McClemont says, Sean, sorry if this has been asked. Do you see Samoa Joe heading back to TNA, ROH, or straight to AEW? I think Samoa Joe is a very, very, very smart businessman, and we saw that play out right before he got signed by WWE, and then he took the good business deal. I would imagine we're going to see a bit of a tour, but given we're in a different spot now than when he was a free agent last time, when he came fresh out of TNA and he was working a lot of places. We're in the pandemic. AEW's around. TNA is not what it is. ROH is not what it was. So it's hard for me to say, but if I had to guess, I think he would do some spots here and there. Bryant says, at least you got more internet interview content coming up. Yeah, but I wish that wasn't what caused it. I wish that wasn't the situation that caused me or allowed me to speak to these people. I was just told Bo Dallas was there. He did a practice match on Friday. AEW, $1.2 million. Wow. Throwback says, this is insane. A year ago this happened, and now this. Joe versus Omega. Yes, please. It's insane this is happening. Yeah. Patrick Spear says, holding off on releases while NXT UK is on. I don't think so. I think they'd want to bury it as best they could. They just, it's going to be big news no matter what now. Zach Barber says, the amount of negligence in the way the Iconics were handled is criminal. Yes, it is. Guys, I'm going to wrap up. If you got super chats, get them in. I'm going to do a podcast tomorrow or this weekend to make up for the Q&A show. And I'll basically talk about where I see each of these people landing. And I'm going to talk about additional backstage news I have. That'll be on Fightful Select. I've got a bunch of backstage news to apply, but I'm going to pop up on the Distraction, Jeremy Lambert and Joe Holbert show on this same channel. So you guys can just hop on over to that because this is their time slot right now, and I'm kind of encroaching in it. But Callum says, from the highs of WrestleMania to the worst Raw of 2021, now this, releasing the Iconics is baffling. How did Vince not see the potential? And, people saying that the way that they were used is criminal. It is. Drew Lytle says Jericho has a lot of new guests in the future. Renee, too. Burrell says, this is so tone deaf. Isn't this the exact day as last year? Unfortunately, it is. Anakin said, any of them reach out for an interview? Yep, 2 of them have. Bad Eyesight says, do you think that WWE's use of Latin talent like Andrade and Kalisto will make it tough for them to recruit that part of the world in the future? Yes, I do. And this is something I talked to the former Hunico and Sin Cara about yesterday. He thinks so as well. Samoa Joe versus MJF, sign me up, says Matthew. Oh, boy. The promos there would be good. Bezos says, bring Alistair to Raw to have a Mania 36 rematch with Bobby. I think it could be really good considering Black's great in-ring and Bobby is doing well. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And Alistair has not been beaten like a drum. They accidentally put him on a year-long winning streak, for the love of God. Pablo says, I don't like people getting fired, but I hope they let go Ricochet, Alistair, and Murphy. Some of them can go to AEW. I don't hope they let them go. What I hope is that they utilize this talent to the best of their abilities and create good stories. I don't want to see these people have to find creative avenues by losing their dream jobs. I want to see that dream job, find out what the goals of these talent are, and then utilize them there. Anthony say, do you see any of these wrestlers getting a Drake Maverick storyline where they get their jobs back? No, I think they did that last year. I'll look this up before I run it out there, but I don't want to sit there and say that. Jackson Riker is listed on SmackDown now. That's interesting. I don't know why that's the case, but yeah, Jackson Riker is now listed on SmackDown. Touch of Madness says, I'd like to see Joe in New Japan, James Green, Tucker, and NWA. Man, I would like to see people get paid more than what that pays. Blake and Dallas and Impact, Kalisto to AAA, Royce and K and AEW. And says, I meant Joe to AEW. AEW could use Mickie James and Chelsea Green. Those are the two ones that stick out to me. Do I see any of them coming back in the future? Yes. I could see Chelsea Green popping up in the future. I could see Joe for a one-off and the Iconics as well. What's with April 15th and releases? It's before the quarterly call, buddy. That's what it is. We got the quarterly call coming up. So that's what they're doing. They're getting that. They're going to announce, oh, we did budget cuts to save money while they report record revenues. That's unfortunately what's going to happen. Now, guys, I will not be taking any more super chats after this. Chase says, give me Jacob Fatu versus Joe. Joe versus Aldis for a short NWA title run. FightfulSelect.com. I'm going to have a bunch of news over there. I'm hopping over onto the Distraction podcast right now. It's on this same channel, youtube.com/Fightful. And, of course, we got Alex Palowski popping up here. He says, next Sour Graps is going to be a doozy. He's in a mood over this. FightfulSelect.com. Thank you to all of you who tuned in and provided us coverage or provided us support and all this stuff. Support these people. Show them positive reinforcement. We answered this, JJ. Show them positive reinforcement. This is the darkest day in a lot of these people's lives. Say something nice about them. Until next time.